Hello there, YouTube. I'm just sitting here in the house, bored, and figured y'all haven't had a chance to see an update other than my, stitched together face from the accident. So, let's get back to talking about chickens, shall we? Now, in this video, the topic I want to cover is breed clubs. Now, what is a breed club? It is a group of people who have a shared interest in a particular breed or group of breeds of poultry or waterfowl or what have you, and they try to promote them. They try to work together to preserve them, and they also encourage people to get out there and show them. And I mentioned this group. I just joined them this past fall in my video where I went to the chicken show, and that is the Society for the Preservation of Poultry Antiquities. And I just figured I'd show you real quick what all kind of things you can expect from joining a club. Now, different clubs have different numbers of members, and as such, it reflects on what you're going to get, financially out of it. Most clubs put out 4 newsletters a year, and this is the winter 2018 newsletter for the society. Typically, you've got articles from the different officers, but most clubs I've been in, any member, regardless of experience, is allowed to write an article and submit it. You can just say, hey, I'd like to introduce myself. This is what I'm working on. I'd love to hear from other people working on this breed. And say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing with this breed. Can y'all help me out? You can sit back and read this stuff and find out, hey, this guy that's been raising these for 40 years lives an hour and a half from me. I'm going to go pay him a visit. Not only that, but typically you're going to have a for sale section, and you're also going to have calendar dates for upcoming shows. A lot of these newsletters have show reports, and depending on the finances of the club, there's often color photos involved from these shows. There we are up at the New Ulm show this past fall, showing our American game fowl. There's my mom. She showed large fowl phoenix. So there's real good articles in here. Case in point, Dr. Charles Everett here, which I'm going to tell you, I've said before, but I'm going to tell you again. These people have nothing against game fowl people. They welcome them with open arms, and they don't care if you're breeding Old English or American game or Cuban or whatever. As long as you're trying to preserve the breed, they say, come on in. And so he's talking about the difference in preservation of a breed and what it takes to recreate a breed or a variety. Now, then they get into talking things about interpreting the standard in this other article. And what the standard is it is a written guideline of what your breed should look like, act like, weigh, how it should be colored, etc. Overall temperament, that kind of thing. The standard itself, see if I can have mine handy here real quick. Pardon the boot on my leg. I might be able to grab it out of there. 1 second. If you're breeding large fowl, and they're what they call a recognized breed, you're going to be dealing with the American Poultry Association's Book of Standards. That's this book here. It is not a light book. It is not a cheap book. The good thing about it is it changes very little from edition to edition. So you can often pick up an older edition cheaper. But the most important thing about this book is the first 40 pages. That tells you terminology, explains things like comb defaults, tail set, stance, wing carriage, color, all those types of things that make the structure of the breed. So when they're talking about breeding to the standard, interpreting the standard, what they're saying is, in a standard, you're going to see things like the back should be medium to medium long. And he's explaining, well, different people interpret that different ways. And what you're looking at is when you show, different judges have their interpretations, and the idea is you take your birds to multiple shows under multiple judges to get an overall consensus of where your birds are strong and where they lack. Alright? So this is one of the biggest show holding associations in the country. The other is American Bantam Association. They don't have written standards for every breed. Norwegian Jerhorn, I don't think they got them in there. American Game Largefowl, I know they don't have in there. So then you got to start looking around to see if you've got a breed club. And for the American Game Fowl, there's currently the different state game breeders associations, which all fall under the umbrella of the United Game Fowl Breeders Association. And then you also have the American Game Fowl Society, which, best I can tell, is an American equivalent to the Oxford game clubs found in other countries, because in the country of origin for the Old English, they diverged into two separate breeds long ago. You've got what they call Oxford type, and you've got Carlisle type. Carlisle type, the saying goes, they look like little tea kettles, or little teapots. They're very heavily influenced by Indian Azil body structure. They're very cobby. A lot of American breeders who've never seen them before would think they'd look similar to a Cornish in a lot of regards. So try and find you something like that. And I'm going to tell you, this right here, it's got good information, but if nothing else, most breed organizations, now the big ones, they'll put out a yearbook every year, but most breed organizations put out at least once every couple of years what they call a breeder's directory. And if you're dealing with stuff that's hard to find, that right there, in my opinion, is worth price of admission. So this one here is a breeder's directory for the Society of Preservation of Poultry Antiquities. Now, it's got a table of contents here, and there's also articles in here. The critical list for 2014, where they're talking about how old or rare different breeds are. They've got an index of specialty breed clubs, such as the Old English Game Bantam Club of America and the Old English Game Club of America. Now, this is for your large fowl. And a lot of guys who have straight-combed American games, if you have the right leg color on your bloodline, you can probably show them as Old English, because they are typically of that body type. I'm talking your white hackles, your butchers, your clarets. Case in point, one of the articles in here, one of the guys decided to work on Old English large fowl, but he wanted to work in brown reds and lemon blues. So he actually went out and got a hold of some travelers and some warhorse and that kind of thing to breed into his show lines. So you don't have to necessarily have, Old English from a show pen. You can go ahead and breed your Doms, or again your Warhorse or your Sid Taylors or whatever, to meet the show standard fairly simply. Now your P-comb breeds, I'm sorry, but they don't cut for Old English. Old English have to be straight comb. So that's where you get into your American Game Breeders Associations. Then I'm going to skip past that there. They got a list of regional meets, rules for them, articles on breeds, Here's some information on the Buttercup, which is a very old breed from Sicily. Here's an article on games. And I'm just going to say right here, do yourself, the SPPA, and History's Chickens a favor, raise games. So like I said, you guys with the game file out here, don't be shy about contacting these folks. And then we talk about preservation. Again, preserving the Old English game. Again. Sure some of you have seen that image before. Then we get into breeds like the LaFletch. Then we get into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, which is the Breeder's Directory. I'm not going to really try to show you the pages on that because, you know, it's one of them things. This is the kind of thing people pay for to get into the association, and that is how they fund everything, so I'm not going to try and take that away from them. But I will go back to the back here. And what this list is it goes by breed and variety, and then tells you the number for the breeder in the earlier part of the book. So American Games, we got a guy with blacks, we got a guy with BB Reds, we got a guy with Irish Piles and Spanish Muffs. Okay, now that's American Game. You get into large file Old English, Birchin, Black, BB Red, John Sears Muff. Just like I said, you don't have to necessarily have a Old English. If they fit the type, then that's what they are. And Muff and Tassel, although you almost never see them in the show hall, are part of the Old English breed. Brown Red, Ginger, Gold Duckwing, Hennies, Lemon Blues, Red Pile, Silver Duckwings, Splash, Brown Red Toppies, and Lemon Blue Toppies. Okay? And then you just correspond that number back to the breeder, and it gives you their contact information. It tells you if they ship chicks, eggs, started birds, or adults, or if they don't ship at all, if they let you pick up at the farm, etc., etc. So, and there's some nice pictures in there too. Now, let's see here, what else we got going. Cuban games. Aziles, Malays, LaFletch, Houdins, Sumatras, Barnvelders. There we go, American Game Bantams. Look at all the colors they got listed in here. This guy's got Bantam Lacy Roundheads, Bantam Harold Brown Hatch. So, anyhow, like I said, I was just getting bored sitting in the house here. And I just want everybody to strongly consider checking out a breed club. And even if you try it out and it's not for you, the most you're going to be out is probably $20 for a year. And let's face it, we spend more than that on a weekend driving around. And actually, it's kind of interesting that I got this blanket laying here, because when I took Best Non-Standard Breed with that game, this blanket was my award. It was donated by one of the members of the club there. And you'll find that a lot too, is the members help each other out. Since my accident, one of the biggest group of supporters who have helped raise funds for me, since I'm going to be off work for the last 6 months, or next 6 months I should say, has been friends I've made in the Polish Breeders Club. I've been there in that club for quite a few years, and made a lot of great connections, and those folks have really stepped up and thrown some elbow grease behind it, and I appreciate that. But anyway, hope y'all are enjoying your day, and we'll get some more going here soon. Thanks for watching.